Hello my darlings, and welcome to another bedroom guru with me, Nicky, Alan. How are you all doing? Welcome to the grief program, and this is going to be going through the third stage of grief, which is anger and bargaining. Anger during the grief, if you're going to, or possibly go through this emotion during your grieving, is most probably the most volatile and explosive of all of the stages. It can create mayhem and chaos. Sometimes, no matter how much we're hurting, if we know that we're saying too much in anger, perhaps we need to pull ourselves back. We're angry at the world for carrying on when it should be stopping, because obviously we've lost our loved one. We're angry at our loved one going over. We're angry at ourselves, which can then end up jumping back into guilt because we're like having to go at ourselves. Or we find a scapegoat, and that scapegoat could be another loved one, a family member or a friend, where we just let them have it. And it's a very, very difficult time. I remember when I was a detective, I was looking after a family whose father had been beaten to death. It was awful. And they were obviously very angry because they kind of knew the family that was responsible for doing it. So they were trying to stop themselves from going around there to have it out, I remember turning up one afternoon and I could feel the tension. One of the things I've noticed watching people grieving over the years is that some of them their anger also manifests into almost telling other people how they should grieve. We all grieve differently. Some of us laugh, some of us close down, some of us cry and moan and rip our clothes or whatever, so we all grieve differently. And there's lots of people that accuse other people of not grieving properly, or you don't care as much as I do, you never cared about Dad. And this was what was going on in this environment. And basically one of the brothers, there was both sides of the family there, one of the brothers said, oh, you didn't care anyway, you didn't care if he was dead or not. And it just kicked off. And you can imagine, right, this family were they could look after themselves, right? And I remember sitting in the lounge and everybody just started fighting. There was about 15 people just fighting in the lounge, and I thought, Jesus, what the hell? But I knew it was all through grief and pain. What was the good of nicking them or doing anything? I just sidled out amongst the mayhem and went and sat outside and just let them get out whatever they needed to get out. And so one of the things I always recommend when people do go through the anger stage, you might not, but most people do, is to get out. One of the best things I recommend, if you can't do physical stuff, is just go and drive out somewhere and scream your head off in the car till you can't scream anymore. Or just walk out to the woods and just scream. In my book, I don't think I put it in there actually, because I was obviously had to edit quite a lot that I could on my own. Me, myself and I just used to go out in the middle of the night and scream my head off. In the cemetery. There's basically people thinking it was like what's the word? Something banshee. It's like, oh, I'm like shrieking banshee or whatever. But it's a really good way to alleviate all of this built up anger of why did he go? Why did she leave me? Why did she kill herself? Why didn't I go round there? I can't stand. And you literally are boiling to an extent where you just explode. Physical fitness, punch bags, going for long walks, swimming it out, running it out, whatever you can do that floats your boat. This anger has to go somewhere. Try and aim it at doing something on your own that's physical to get it out, or mental to get it out, rather than take it out on your family. I've seen families splinter apart, never to be repaired, because of what anger has brought into the mix. And so much is said in anger and grief where it really didn't need to be said. You don't really want to say it, but you just can't help yourself because you want to hurt. You want other people to hurt as much as you're hurting, don't you? And if you see them like smile, or you think, how dare you laugh when they're dead? And it's all this kind of thing. And they go back into guilt, and you're in anger, and then you feel guilty that you've hurt them. And it just literally can go on and on and on. So if you're someone that's watching it happen, if you're seeing the family start to fracture or relationships around this person start to fracture, that's your time to intervene. If it continually goes on and on and on, it's your time to intervene. The most will tell you to F off as well. But, that's what you need to do, is intervene and say, look, perhaps you need to go and see someone about this. Perhaps we need to go down and work out in the gym, whatever. But you're really starting to create problems now for yourself. Please don't do this. Don't do it in their memory. Blah, 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 talk around, because it is a real hard thing to deal with, because you don't want to tell people off, because you know it's a natural part of the grieving, you know, the grieving stages, but then you can't allow it to continue where people are going completely mental at each other and at themselves and smashing the place up. I've had that before. One of my friends who lost his wife and his child, he just completely smashed the crap out of his house. He smashed everything to pieces. His way of getting his anger out. Right, I'm done now, and I'm going to move house. And that's how he coped with it. Obviously, it had to be repaired, but he smashed everything that he could possibly see that connected him with his wife and his unborn child. And I can totally understand that. It is a really, really strong emotion, even stronger when you're dealing with loss. And as I say, it needs to be checked. If you inside think I went a bit mad there, then of course talk to someone about it, or do the physical things or the mental things that can alleviate the anger. Also at this stage you have to be very careful that to blot out the grief, to blot out the acceptance, to blot out anything you might turn to eating, drinking, unusual behaviour or habits. Some people have affairs, you know, some people do all sorts of things in the anger stage because they want to be rebellious, they want to hurt, and they just want to go and almost hurt themselves for having to go through this process. And so this is when perhaps the drinking might escalate, or other habits, to almost self-destroy, you know, self-sabotage your own self, and almost because, well, they've gone, I might as well give up now, I hate the world, I hate everybody in it, fuck everything. And you know, you just want to start doing the self-sabotage route. So be aware of that, especially if you're watching it and seeing someone else do it to themselves, or you know, if you're aware of it yourself, again, try and nip it in the bud. It's so hard to say don't do it, because it'd be like, you don't even know what I'm feeling, so don't tell me not what to do, so F off, you know, it's none of your business. That's the kind of things I used to get. But you sow a seed at the end of the day. No, I have got no idea how you feel. I have got no idea how to possibly conceive how you're feeling about this loss. You're absolutely right. But what I can tell you is this isn't good for you. And I don't think he or she would want you to do this, really, would they? It's none of your fucking business. No, I know it's none of my business. I'm just saying, you know, take it or leave it. You know, I love you as a friend. I love you as a family member. But I don't think he or she would want to see you do this, darling. That's all I'm saying. But if it makes you feel better, you crack on. All right, so you just gently kind of giving them a bit of a, you need to kind of knock this on the head, you know, or just sowing a gentle seed and then backing off again and just saying that you're doing it with love. That's the way I would handle it. And that's how I've handled it before with people, where I see them start drinking, I'm turning up and they're already drunk by 11, 12 o'clock because they just cannot deal with the pain anymore. Never were alcoholics before. You know, my mum, her drinking was really social. As soon as my dad went, that was it. She started her a very quick progressive route to alcoholism. And drug, you know, even painkillers, drugs, whatever it is that people want to block themselves out with, can sometimes start from losing somebody. And so, you know, I've had to deal with it so many times. My God, I've been surrounded by alcoholics my whole life. And if as soon as you tell someone that they're having too much of something, flip it out, they'll just smash you in the face or tell you to go fuck yourself. Excuse my French. Nobody wants to admit to, 1, dealing with grief, 2, not handling it very well, and then 3, developing an addiction. Hell no, they're not going to have that. So they are going to roar at you. So you have to be very diplomatic, very gentle, and very easy with it. And sometimes it may lead to a group intervention of the person if it gets that bad, you know. And then again, some people give up and walk away and let them go down that rabbit hole. It's very, very difficult. Only you can judge how to deal with it, because you know the person that's going through the grief. And, you know, you can also find support people. Cruise is a good one. Even the Samaritans, any of those, you know, just look for support group 4. And then grieving, support group 4, and they're everywhere, all in your local areas, and say, look, how do I handle this? This is what he or she's doing. I don't know how to cope. So there are, you know, there's all support services, which I'll find some links for you towards the end of the last videos, I'll put in all the links that I know that will help you and the people that are grieving that are watching this as well. Don't be too hard on yourself, but try and, for the person going through the anger, try and focus the anger on something or out somewhere. Okay, it's all I'm going to say to you. I know that you feel angry that they've been taken from you. I know you feel angry because you feel like, why me? I know you feel angry with the world because it should never have happened because you've had a shit life and now this, you know. And the other thing is as well is that we then start looking at the bargaining side of things. So this is more relevant, I would suppose, for someone, just say if you've got someone in a coma, and they're saying, look, it doesn't look good, we may have to look at, you know, switching them off at some time. And then that's when the bargaining comes in. God, you know, you get into that chapel, never been in a chapel when you're bleeding life, in the hospital. God, if you just please take me instead of my boy, don't take my boy, I'd swear, just take me. If you take me and, you know, and bring my boy back, that'll be fine. Or please let him survive, I'll pray and I'll do this for the rest of my life. I'll stop drinking, I'll stop eating, I'll stop lying, I'll stop whatever, just as long as you keep him alive. The same with people that have been diagnosed with terminal illness, exactly the same thing. It's all the bargaining. You're trying to bargain illogically with whatever higher power there is out there just to keep your loved one from leaving you. And it's, again, it's a very natural thing to do. And the thing is, when the bargaining doesn't work and they do go, that's when the anger comes in. And it can just keep looping and looping and looping. It's just an endless loop. And then sometimes, because you've then created problems around you because of your anger, you then feel guilty. So then the guilt thing comes back in, and then you naturally start thinking of the guilt around the person that passed, and it just is a mess, a complete mess. And you can stay in this loop for months and months and months, okay? And so if you do have someone, gently intervene and say, look, perhaps you need a bit of help. They're not doing it to judge you. They're not doing it to criticise the fact that you can't, you know, survive this grieving process properly. They're not doing it to make you feel like you're weak. They're doing it because they love you and they're noticing that you're just putting yourself through endless punishment. So give your people around you a break, grieving people, because they may be saying things that are relevant. Obviously, if it's someone that's always picking on you, or someone that's always, you know, perhaps narcissistic, or someone that thinks they've got it sussed. So I painted the gate yesterday. Look, I just added to my tattoo. It's a nightmare when I find paint. I found some urban slate dark grey paint, and I thought that gate's gonna get it, and so it did. So obviously missed a bit. So, you know, take on board what they've got to say, and just, you know, even if you can't process what someone's saying to you, that's fine. But later on, have a look at what that sort of person is, as we were saying. If there's someone that's ordinarily always going to be picking on you or telling you not doing things right, then it's whatever. But be true to yourself. Be honest with yourself. Look yourself in the mirror and think, am I being a complete arsehole about this? You know, do I need to take my anger down the gym, you know, down the swimming pool, down the woods, down the beach? Do I need to just go and scream it out? Or have I got a valid reason for being angry with these people? You think you have. But, you know, what sort of energy are you staying in with this permanent anger raging through you? Do you know what I mean? It can't be good for you. It must be exhausting. So just, you know, by all means, you can be angry. I'm not saying you can't be. It's if it carries on and it just starts spreading to everybody around you, and then they come away from you because of it. That's when there's an issue or a problem. You need people around you, you know, who've got your back, that understand. So only you can be honest with yourself, and the people who are looking after people grieving, you can be honest with them and yourself and think, I need to step in now because this has got a bit too much. So that's the next stage, my darlings. Yes, you're going to be bargaining with God, and even illogically, even after the person's gone. You know, I've heard people say, please just bring him back, take me. Please, if you bring him back, I'll be good. I'll pray to you. I'll run a church. I'll do charity for the rest of my life. So you even do the illogical bargaining that they've already gone. You know you can't get them back, but you still want them back anyway, because you cannot deal with the fact that they have gone physically forever. And the anger that, you know, you go out and you hear people laughing, or you see a couple kissing, it's your husband that's passed or your wife that's passed. You know, you just... It's the anger. I've been there so many times, and you just think, why did my dad die? He never smoked in his life. Why did my mum die when that heroin addict's putting crap up his arms down the road? You know, you will get all of those thought processes come in, and they're quite right. They are. But don't let them rent your mind, your body and your soul for too long. When it's time to let it go. And only your friends or you will know when that time is right, that you think, actually, I need to kind of find a way to deal with this now. Very, very difficult, because it can take you right back to denial again, the anger. So you can float around all of these for many months, as I say, but only you can be the judge of when it's too much, you know, for you. And also, if you feel like you are connecting with something else to mask the pain, whether it be drugs, alcohol, behaviour, whatever it is, then I'll be leaving all of the support lines for that as well. Okay. At the end of the day, it doesn't mean you're a bloody addict. You know, I know lots of people have hit it really hard to black out, and then as soon as they've got over it or got help, they stop it and they never miss it again. You know, it doesn't mean you're an alcoholic or a drug addict. It's just another coping mechanism that we may reach for at this stage. So be aware of it. Okay, my lovelies. But we'll leave you with that to munch over. Thank you so much. Some of you have sent some exceptionally intimate emails to me concerning your grieving, and it's really made me feel quite humble that you're willing to open up and allow me into your lives. Thank you for that. I really do appreciate that, and I really do appreciate the fact that a lot of you are getting some benefit from this. I'll just say, as I always do, you've got to be kind to yourself. Take one day at a time, and just see if anything you're experiencing is going too far, then it needs to be pulled in, or whatever way it can be. And don't hide what's going on. Be honest with people and let them know how you're feeling. Hiding is just as bad as finding another process to mask it, like the drinking, or, you know, if you're hiding, oh yeah, I'm fine, thank you, and you're hiding it all and you're not letting it out or sharing it, that can be just as damaging. Okay, very complex grieving. Everything in your body is alerting you to wanting to protect you from any hurt or pain. So there's some weird stuff going to be going on with you, okay? But just honour it, because I'm telling you now, even though if you're watching this and you're in the early stages of grieving, it will pass. Naturally, it will pass. You've just got to ride it until then. I wish you so much strength and love, and I really do hope that this reaches the right people who are in the most rawest time of their life. My love goes to you, and if there's anything I can do, drop comments below. And if you know anybody who's grieving, please send this on to them. So with that, I'll love you and leave you. Take care and have the best week that you can. Bye now.